This is Gado News.
Now, if you're an active participant in the social media space, you might have come across a video in which one social media influencer claims that the recent NAFDAC enforcement operations against substandard, expired and falsified drugs in Idumota, Aba and Onisha open drug markets were used to extort money from the traders. Well, the Director General of NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola DG, has swiftly come out to clear the air on the allegation and put things in the right perspectives.
The decision to seal shops and impose investigative charges followed painstaking surveillance and intelligence that revealed large-scale stocking and distribution of medicines that will kill our people.
Professor Adeyeye there, who was addressing a press briefing in Lagos, described the report as malicious, unfounded, and a calculated attempt to incite the public. Now, what really is the true position and NAFDAC side of the story, you may ask? I advise you to stay tuned to the program as we bring you the details of the press briefing. If it is not approved by NAFDAC, don't buy, don't use. A warm welcome to NAFDAC and Your Health, your trusted companion in the pursuit of wellness and vitality. This is your definitive health digest and wellness guide, where your well-being is our foremost priority. Within this moment we share, you'll find not only essential knowledge, but also practical guidance and invaluable insights, each carefully curated to empower you in preserving and enriching your health. So let's journey together hand in hand towards a life marked by balance, strength, and joy. I am Harriet Adams, your host, and it's always my pleasure to be with you. On the program today, NAFDAC organizes workshops for pure water producers in Abuja. NAFDAC seizes 45 million naira fake toothpaste, spaghetti, and others in Niger market. NAFDAC raids shops at Suleja Market, seizes banned counterfeit products. NAFDAC calls for cooperation between pharmaceutical industries and universities for local drug production. Elijah Ewa is here with details of these stories and more. Elijah, the microphone is yours.
Good evening and welcome to the news update. NAFDAC has organized a workshop in Abuja for members of the Association of Pure Water Producers. The event provided an opportunity to sensitize operators of pure water factories in Maraba, Karo, and Kefi axis on the need to ensure good manufacturing practice, GMP, at every stage of their production. Addressing participants, the director of Greater FCT, Mr. Kenneth Azikiwe, said the workshop was also to strengthen collaboration between industry players and regulators on quality products. Azikiwe called on the pure water producers to take advantage of the online platform or visit the newly created NAFDAC office in Maraba to renew their licenses on time. Also speaking, a representative of the Standard Organization of Nigeria, SON, Mr. Michael Agagboma, pledged closer working relationship with NAFDAC to ensure standards within the industry. Meanwhile, NAFDAC has promised continued support for MSMEs in the areas of training, incentives, provision, and products registration. The NAFDAC director of Greater FCT, Kenneth Azikiwe, made the promise at another workshop organized for MSME operators in Abuja. He said the agency had created MSMEs department nationwide to ensure prompt registration of products. In his speech, the acting managing director of Abuja Enterprise Agency, Mr. Chudi Ezirigwe, said the forum had helped in creating a one-stop shop to address bottlenecks faced by small-scale business owners in Nigeria. In another development, NAFDAC has seized expired, unregistered, and substandard food and cosmetic products worth over 350 million naira during a targeted enforcement operation in Kano State. The agency announced the development in a statement posted on its official X handle on Sunday, following a 3-day crackdown prompted by petitions from concerned citizens. The raid, which took place in Singa Market and several supermarkets across Kano Metropolis was led by the Directors of Investigation and Enforcement and the Northwest Zonal Office. The agency said investigations were ongoing to identify and prosecute those involved in the distribution of these products. It also urged the public to report any suspicious items to the nearest NAFDAC office. NAFDAC reaffirmed its commitment to safeguarding public health by ensuring that only safe and quality regulated products are sold across the country. Meanwhile, NAFDAC has warned Nigerians against the use of hair smoothing products containing formaldehyde. The agency says the United States Food and Drug Administration has informed it of the short and long-term effects of formaldehyde exposure in hair smoothing products. The alert says most hair smoothing or straightening products release formaldehyde gas, a known human carcinogen, as classified by the International Agency for Research on Cancer, into the air during hair straightening or smoothing. Meanwhile, NAFDAC has warned Nigerians against the use of hair smoothing products containing formaldehyde. The agency says the United States Food and Drug Administration has informed it of the short and long-term effects of formaldehyde exposure in hair smoothing products. The alert says most hair smoothing or straightening products release formaldehyde gas, a known human carcinogen, as classified by the International Agency for Research on Cancer, into the air during hair straightening or smoothing. That's it on the news update. Over now to Harriet as she brings us the remaining part of the program. I am Elijah Iwa.
Thank you so much, Elijah, for that update. Now, as we told you earlier, a video in the social media has claimed that NAFDAC used the recent clampdown on 3 open drug markets in Idumota, Aba and Onitsha to extort money from the drug dealers. But in a swift response, the Director General of NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, addressed the press in Lagos, putting the record straight. Before we delve into that discussion proper, let's hear a word from our sponsor and then take a brief visit to the rendezvous for a message. Happy listening.
Bola, what are you adding to these fruits?
Shegun, you're old school. Don't you know adding carbide makes fruit ripe fast? You don't want to buy fruits from me again.
Oh dear, Bola, have you not heard all the NAFDAC warnings?
What NAFDAC warnings are you talking about?
NAFDAC has consistently warned against using carbide to ripen fruits. NAFDAC says calcium carbide is an explosive chemical and it changes the skin color of the fruit, but the fruit remains raw.
Please tell me more.
NAFDAC is also warning that this carbide can cause diarrhea, ulcer on the skin, mouth, and throat, plus burning sensation in the chest and abdomen. NAFDAC also warns that it causes neurological system disorder, dizziness, memory loss, low blood pressure, cerebral edema, kidney, and even liver diseases. NAFDAC says there are safe ways to ripen fruits. Number 1, collect your fruit and put them into a paper bag, seal it, and wait for a few days. 2, apple and banana peels can be added to the fruit to help it ripe faster. And 3, direct exposure to sunlight also facilitates ripening of fruits.
Oh my God. Thank you for this NAFDAC info. I never knew. Starting today, I will no more use calcium carbide to ripen the fruits I sell again.
This message is from the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC. NAFDAC, safeguarding the health of the nation.
Auntie?
Yes?
Did you see that video online?
What video?
They said NAFDAC people just came here to collect bribes. That's why they shut those shops.
Choco, you young people believe everything you see online. Did you even listen to the DG's press conference?
Press conference? Auntie, they talk one thing, they do just another. All I know is Uncle Ibuka lost over 2 million naira worth of drugs.
And how many of those drugs were registered or not expired? Look, I'm a licensed pharmacist. What NAFDAC did was long overdue.
So you support them harassing traders?
It's not harassment if people are selling fake or dangerous drugs. Do you know my cousin nearly died after using one last year? No NAFDAC approval, no safety.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, my name is Officer Jide from NAFDAC. We are here for community engagement, not enforcement today.
Hey, officer.
Yes?
Thank God you're here. Please talk to this, my nephew, before he burns down the market with misinformation.
Young man, We understand the tension, but our actions are not about money. They are about protecting lives. Do you know how many Nigerians die from fake drugs yearly?
But why close all the shops now? Even the innocent ones?
We sealed only shops that fail inspection or refuse to cooperate. And there is a legal process. Investigative charges, not bribe, transparent and documented.
Exactly. And some shops even reopened once they complied. People just want to twist the truth for clicks.
So NAFDAC isn't the enemy?
They're not saints, but they are trying. It's our job to ask questions, but also our duty to listen to the answers.
Now, we encourage everyone to report illegal drug sales. Your identity will be protected. Together, we can clean up this market and save lives.
Maybe it's time we focus on what really matters. Health over hearsay.
That was Truth Be Told, reminding us that health misinformation is as dangerous as fake drugs. Stay with us as we return to more insights on NAFDAC's efforts to safeguard our health.
The program is NAFDAC and Your Health. We're part of it by sending us a text or WhatsApp message to the number 0812-541-9549. The number again, 0812-541-9549. Remember, you can always catch up on the previous editions of this program, NAFDAC and Your Health, by visiting the website gadoagency.com.ng. That is gadoagency.com.ng. Now, do you know that a handsome reward awaits you if you're able to provide information that can lead to the hideouts of product fakers? Send your information through text to the number 0909 763 0507 0909 763 0507. Your identity will be protected. We assure you of that. Now, the NAFDAC DG strongly condemned what she described as inciting and misleading statements made by a social media influencer targeting the agency's regulatory enforcement, particularly on Onitsha Head Bridge Market. But how does the public react to this allegation? Our health and social affairs correspondent, Victoria Sido, went to the streets to feel the pulse of the people.
In a time when digital voices often appears to narrow the line between truth and opinion, government agencies face growing public scrutiny, sometimes not justified. A recent viral video criticizing NAFDAC's regulatory actions in Onitsha is one of such scenarios. Expectedly, NAFDAC has not remained silent. It has come out to clear the air on the matter and put the record straight. But viral video has already sparked off unprecedented reactions from the consuming public.
There's too much misinformation online and people want to go viral. Therefore, they go ahead to say things that are half truth. I saw with my own eyes last year how some people were selling painkillers in a recycle pack. It's scaring. I don't know what the country is turning to. And we have to be careful. This agency is not perfect, but we need them more than ever before. Anytime they are doing their job, we have to allow them to do their job properly. All this interference or side talk is not good when they are doing their job. We have to allow them.
People see videos online and assume these agencies are just out there to destroy businesses. But one thing they don't understand is actually the amount of damage counterfeit and substandard drugs have already done. I have treated patients whose conditions worsened because the drugs they bought from open stores were nothing but counterfeit, expired or substandard. You can imagine, when NAFDAC carries out enforcement, they are not actually attacking livelihoods. They are protecting lives. I support them because I know what is at stake actually.
The truth is, enforcement is never comfortable. No one likes to be inspected or challenged. But we should ask ourselves, what happens when there is no inspection at all? I think people online just want to be heard. But here in the market, we want to be safe. If NAFDAC is coming here to make sure people follow the rules, I'm not angry about it. I'd rather be in a country where people are afraid to sell fake drugs than one where no one cares at all.
There was a time when people were dying, but nobody could trace why. Then NAFDAC came in, and little by little, things started changing. The fear of the agency made many traders sit up. People today take regulations for granted, though. But those of us who remember the past know how far we've come.
People online can say what they like, You know, it's easy to criticize enforcement until you're the one standing in front of a grieving family, trying to explain that their father or child died because the medicine they took was fake or expired. That kind of pain doesn't trend online. NAFDAC isn't perfect, I agree, but they are the line between us and disaster. The influencer may have a voice, but NAFDAC has a job to do, and that job is to save lives.
You see, what people fail to realize is that regulation is one of the pillars of public health. I am a teacher, and we teach our students about safety medication practices. If regulatory agencies are silenced or intimidated, this whole system will break down. And by the way, social media influencers should be cautious about what they post on their platform, because that their platform is very powerful. Yes, but the power must be handled responsibly.
Judging from the views of these respondents, digital platforms have given everyone a voice, but such voices should be matched with a sense of responsibility, balanced with truth. No life is guaranteed in a nation flooded with fake, substandard, and expired products, a situation NAFDAC is relentlessly fighting to eliminate. In Abuja, I am Victoria Asido, reporting for NAFDAC and Your Health.
NAFDAC has observed with dismay the wanton illegality of unlicensed vendors peddling drugs to unsuspecting members of the public, despite efforts aimed at tackling the menace of drug hawking. NAFDAC hereby advises the general public to desist from buying drugs from these merchants of death. Drugs sold by hawkers are fake, counterfeit, and substandard. The hawkers expose the drugs to inclement weather, which degrades their active ingredients since they are stored in conditions that render drugs poisonous. The drugs could therefore damage the liver and kidney or lead to the death of the consumer. Drug hawkers constitute threat to our national security. Hawking of drug is one of the main causes of drug abuse, as victims continue to fetch drugs from unregistered and unregulated hawkers. Consequently, drug abusers soon succumb to the dilemma of depression, personality disorders, suicidal thoughts, mental disorder, sleep problems, organ failure, damaged immune system, memory loss, anxiety, social and economic problems. NAFDAC hereby warns those involved in the nefarious act of hawking drugs to desist from this illegal act or face the wrath of the law. NAFDAC, safeguarding the health of the nation.
Thank you very much, Victoria, for that report. Now, the press briefing in Lagos. Professor Mojisola Adeyeye gave an update on the ongoing NAFDAC enforcement drive that led to the closure of some shops in Lagos, Abia, and Anambra states.
The public will recall the recent enforcement operation in 3 open drug markets in Nigeria, Idumota, Aba, and Onitsha, where banned, expired, falsified, and substandard medicines, including narcotics, worth more than ₦1 trillion, were evacuated. Between 9th of February and 27th March 2025, NAFDAC conducted a raid operation to remove these unregistered, expired, banned, diverted, donated drugs, substandard falsified medicines, and illicit narcotics. All the warehouses, shops, and parking stores in the 3 open drug markets did not meet the minimum requirements for good storage and distribution practices. More importantly, there was no proof of registration of these open drug market premises by the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria, PCN, a clear contravention violation of the pertinent extant law of the Federation. It is imperative to state unequivocally that the agency acted strictly within its statutory mandate to safeguard the health of Nigerians.
Professor Adeyeye explained the reason for the closure of the shops and the imposition of investigative charges.
The decision to seal shops and impose investigative charges followed painstaking surveillance and intelligence that revealed large-scale stocking and distribution of medicines that will kill our people. We evacuated 137 40-foot truckloads of these banned, expired, unregistered medicines. Among them, we evacuated 10 truckloads of tramadol that were never registered by NAFDAC. Tramadol that can fry the brain of anybody.
She spoke on the status of Onitsha Headbridge Market.
The bridge market has been identified as a major hub for the distribution of counterfeit and dangerous drugs, a situation that has led to countless preventable illnesses, deaths, and the undermining of our mandate. NAFDAC, in fulfilling its duty, can no longer allow this lawlessness to continue in our country. NAFDAC will no longer allow lawlessness and unnecessary deaths that have resulted. Millions of women, of children, of men have died in Nigeria.
Contrary to speculations, Professor Adeyeye said investigative charges imposed on the airing shops were in line with the extant laws.
For these infractions, the investigative charges that apply as gazetted, as approved by NAFDAC Council, were imposed on these perpetrators as follows. An investigative charge of 5 million was reduced to 200,000 naira after so much pleas for sales of unregistered products. These charges are on our tariff. Our tariff is on our website. The second investigative charge of 2 million was reduced to 500,000 after much pleading for being in violation of good storage and distribution practice. The public should please note, contrary to erroneous speculations, misinformations, that these are federal government gazetted charges and payments.
But when was the market reopened for business?
The market was reopened on the 9th of March 2025, and over 2,500 traders with 3,500 shops, some traders have more than one shops, who have come forward for necessary regulatory procedure and paid the investigative charges, have resumed their normal activity in Ogbogo market. There is no unconditional opening of shop. You do the crime, you pay the time.
Professor Adeyeye reiterated NAFDAC's commitment to ensuring that only quality and registered products are sold in the Nigerian markets.
NAFDAC will continue to ensure that all medical products, medicines, vaccines, medical devices, and others being used in Nigeria are of good quality, they are safe and efficacious. We will continue to provide assurances that these commodities are well monitored to avoid the deaths of pregnant women, children, and the vulnerable. Only God knows how many millions of women have died during childbirth for 5 decades of this decadence. Through this, we will be improving the quality of life and life expectancy of our citizenry while reducing the incidence of untimely deaths of adults living with chronic diseases such as hypertension, diabetes. If you have hypertension or diabetes, you don't have to die. If you take bad medicines from this type of shops, you will die. That is what we are trying to prevent. We wish to assure the public that NAFDAC will continue to work within the purview of our mandate.
At the end of the briefing, a reporter wanted to know why all the shops in Onitsha drug market were closed.
When we were screening, there were some shops that did not violate. But when you have one shop that did not violate, among 10 shops that violated, you cannot open that. All of them were closed just to bring sanity to the screening. We asked them to come to our office to pick up their charge and also the undertaking that they are staying in that place temporarily.
The Director General of NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, at a press briefing in Lagos.
NAFDAC, safeguarding the health of the nation.
Have you ever bought drugs from hawkers on the street?
Of course I have. They're always so much cheaper than going to the pharmacy.
But have you ever thought about the dangers of buying drugs from a hawker?
No, not really. I guess I just assume they are safe.
The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control has observed with dismay the wanton illegality of unlicensed vendors peddling drugs to unsuspecting members of the public, despite efforts aimed at tackling the menace of drug hawking.
What does that mean?
It means that those drugs you're buying from hawkers could be fake, counterfeit, or substandard.
That's serious.
It is. Drugs sold by hawkers are often exposed to inclement weather, which degrades their active ingredients since they are stored in conditions that render drugs poisonous. This can damage your liver and kidneys or even lead to death.
I had no idea.
There's more. Drug hawking is also a threat to our national security. It's one of the main causes of drug abuse, as victims continue to fetch drugs from unregistered and unregulated hawkers. Consequently, drug abusers soon succumb to the dilemma of depression, personality disorders, suicidal thoughts, mental disorders, sleep problems, and organ failure. They could damage their immune system, experience memory loss, anxiety, and social and economic problems.
So, what can we do?
NAFDAC is advising the general public to desist from buying drugs from these merchants of death that sell drugs without prescription by medical professionals. Only buy drugs from registered pharmacies and always consult a doctor before taking any medication.
And what about the hawkers?
NAFDAC is warning those involved in the nefarious act of hawking drugs to desist from this illegal act or face the wrath of the law. This message is brought to you by the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC. NAFDAC, safeguarding the health of the nation.
That's the size of the program today. We brought to you the excerpts of the press briefing by the Director General of NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, in Lagos, refuting a report in the social media that the agency extorted money from drug traders during the recent enforcement operation at Onitsha Head Bridge Market. She described the claim as inciting and misleading. If you have any questions, comments, or you want to know more about the activities of NAFDAC, please reach us on toll-free 0909 763 0506. Do you have any complaints? Simply reach us on 0909 763 0507. It's also toll-free. You can as well visit NAFDAC website on www.nafdac.gov.ng. That is www.nafdac.gov.ng to know more about their operations. Catch up on the previous editions of your program, NAFDAC and Your Health, by visiting the website gadoagency.com.ng. That is gadoagency.com.ng. Remember, if it is not approved by NAFDAC, don't buy, don't use. This is a production of Gado Agency Limited and proudly sponsored by the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC. Special thanks to Malaki Ukpong for his immense contributions. The program was produced by Godwin Odemije, assisted by Gideon Kenneth. Keep a date with us same time next week. I am Harriet Adams. Bye for now.